Anthropic is refusing to bow to the Pentagon despite the DoD's threats. Jack Dorsey's block is laying off over 4,000 people. And Burger King will use AI to monitor employee friendliness. It's Friday, February 27th, and here's a quick look at tech news this morning from Engadget. Despite an ultimatum from Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Anthropic's Dario Amodei said that it cannot, in good conscience, comply with a Pentagon edict to remove guardrails on its AI. The Department of Defense had threatened to cancel a $200 million contract and then label Anthropic a supply chain risk if it did not agree to remove safeguards over mass surveillance and autonomous weapons. Amodei said, "Our strong preference is to continue to serve the department and our warfighters with our two requested safeguards in place." In response, U.S. Undersecretary of Defense Emil Michael accused Amodei in a post on X of wanting, quote, "nothing more than to try to personally control the U.S. military and is okay putting our nation's safety at risk," end quote. Now, the standoff began when the Pentagon demanded that Anthropic make its Claude AI product available for all lawful purposes, including mass surveillance and the development of fully autonomous weapons that can kill without human supervision. Anthropic refused to offer its tech for those things, even with a safety stack built into that model. Yesterday, Axios reported that Hegseth gave Anthropic a deadline of 5:01 p.m. on Friday to agree to the Pentagon's terms. At the same time, the DoD requested an assessment of its reliance on Claude, an initial step toward potentially labeling Anthropic as a supply chain risk, a designation usually reserved for firms from adversaries like China, and never before applied to an American company. Amodei declined to change his stance and stated that if the Pentagon chose to offboard Anthropic, the company will work to enable a smooth transition to another provider, avoiding any disruption to ongoing military planning, operations, or other critical missions. Grok is one of the other providers the DoD is reportedly considering, along with Google's Gemini and OpenAI. It may not be that simple, though, for the military to disentangle itself from Claude. Up until now, Anthropic's model has been the only one allowed for the military's most sensitive tasks in intelligence, weapons development, and battlefield operations. Claude was reportedly used in the Venezuelan raid in which the U.S. military exfiltrated the country's president, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife. AI companies have been widely criticized for potential harm to users. But mass surveillance and weapons deployment would clearly take that to a new level. Anthropic's potential reply to the Pentagon was seen as a test of its claim to be the most safety-forward AI company, particularly after dropping its flagship safety pledge a few days ago. Now that Amodei has responded, the focus will shift to the Pentagon to see if it follows through on its threats, which could seriously harm Anthropic. Well, Block is the latest business to announce layoffs, with the operator of payment platforms Square and Cash App opting to cut jobs in favor of using more AI tools. The financial tech company, helmed by Twitter founder Jack Dorsey, is slashing the current staff of 10,000 to just under 6,000. CNBC highlighted a letter Block sent to shareholders announcing the decision to nearly halve its workforce. According to the message from Dorsey, quote, "The core thesis is simple. Intelligence tools have changed what it means to build and run a company. We are already seeing it internally. A significantly smaller team using the tools we're building can do more and do it better, and intelligence tool capabilities are compounding faster every week," end quote. Now, we learned last year that Block had developed an AI agent called codename Goose for interacting with LLMs. Leadership is clearly putting high expectations on that project and any other in-house tools to fill the shoes of thousands. In that shareholder letter, Dorsey said, "Intelligence will be at the core of how the entire company works, how we make decisions, how we build trust and manage risk. how we build products, and how we serve customers. Block also reported its latest financial results this week. It finished the 2025 financial year with operating income of $1.71 billion. Burger King, the chain that leans into creepy, is at it again. The Verge reported on Thursday that the company is rolling out a new voice-controlled AI chatbot for its workers. That may sound like business as usual in 2026, but this assistant does not just help with, say, meal prep and monitor inventory. It also has an unsettling component of surveilling employees' voices for friendliness. The voice-controlled chatbot will live inside employees' headsets. The company said that the AI is trained to recognize when its low-paid workers utter phrases like, "Welcome to Burger King," "Please," and "Thank you." Managers can then keep tabs on their location's friendliness performance. Burger King's chief digital officer told The Verge this is meant to be a coaching tool. However, he added that the company is also iterating the system to detect tone in conversations. Now, this does beg the question, is there a chatbot that can warn Burger King executives about off-putting ideas? Now, the OpenAI-powered assistant's other duties sound potentially useful and decidedly less creepy. It can answer workers' meal prep questions like how many strips of bacon to put on burgers or instructions for cleaning the shake machine. It's also integrated into the chain's point-of-sale system, so it can tell managers when items are out of stock or machines are down. The Patty chatbot is part of a broader BK Assistant platform the company is launching. It will roll out to all U.S. locations by the end of this year. Meanwhile, its restaurant maintenance with a side of mass surveillance chatbot is currently being piloted in 500 restaurants. Thanks for listening. There's more tech news at Engadget.com. This episode featured journalism from Steve Dent, Anna Washenko, and Will Shanklin, and it was voiced and produced from the sound studios of Spoken Layer. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll be back on Monday with more tech news from Engadget.